Well, hello everyone. Don Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our center court session on specialty master's degrees in business. We're going to talk about two specialty master's degrees in particular, the master's in global supply chain management, an incredibly hot topic of late. As you know, supply chains have been really strained since the pandemic occurred. And that is still the case, and talent in that area is in much demand. And then a master's in product management, which is really, an area that is very hot in tech in particular. A lot of people who get training in product management want to work for the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Dells, and other tech firms, although product management is a skill set, obviously, that's useful in any given industry. And there's a wide range of career outcomes. For both of these programs in this seminar. And we're lucky to have three terrific business schools that have three great programs in this area. At Carnegie Mellon Tepper School of Business, we have the Masters in Product Management, and representing Tepper is Brad Evan. Welcome, Brad.
Thanks,
then
John.
On the global we have both Case Western Reserve University's Weatherhead School of Management and the Purdue Krannert School. We have them well represented here by John Gibson and by Brooke Schroeder. Well, welcome everybody. So we'll start with product management, because we have one of those and we have two of supply chain management. So tell us a little bit about the basics of the program. I know it's a one-year program. It's STEM designated. It starts in January. You're going to enroll a record class this January, 50 students, up from 40 the year before. It's been around for 5 years. What more can you tell us about this program?
Well, a lot, but I think to put it into a nutshell, the program is a response by CMU to a business need, an industry need. It was designed almost backwards, you might say, from what employers need and working toward how can we build the students that they want to hire. So it's designed with that specific intent to meet the difficult to find blend of skills that product managers require. And it's really difficult to acquire these skills in any traditional manner.
And what makes your program also a little unusual is that it's a joint program between Carnegie Mellon School of Computer Science as well as the business school. So you're bringing students and faculty in from kind of two different disciplines here, mainly faculty, obviously, to teach product management. And there are a lot of MBAs who actually want to get into product management. Interestingly enough, this would be another way to do it with a specialized degree. What would you say is the advantage of going the master's in this specific field of product management versus a broader degree like an MBA that takes twice as long?
Yeah, there are, well, twice as long is one of the advantages, I suppose, but there are, like, either for the right person is an excellent choice, and Tepper's MBA is an excellent choice, especially the tech track. What we offer is, first, we offer that singular focus, the singular focus for those students who know that product management is for them. The other thing, and I have sort of like, people are generally familiar with the Venn diagram that shows product management being a blend between UX and tech and business. What we offer that very few other programs, arguably none, really offer it as a center of excellence is all three of them. A lot of programs can cover two of them in a relative amount of depth. What we find that there are a lot of tech and business blend programs. The design element is really one of those that stands out. We teach and prepare students to understand their customers and their users as a pillar of the program, where in other areas it might be an afterthought or it might not be covered at all, and you learn it the hard way on the job. For us, it's actually really, when we survey and interview and talk with our alumni, they often, more often than really any other element that they cite that design thinking aspect as the one that they learned here because they weren't exposed to it elsewhere. And it's the thing that they rely upon day in and day out.
Great. John, over at Purdue, now you offer a master's in global supply chain management. What I find interesting is that you have two versions of the program, one for slightly more experienced people, which is a sort of 10, 12-month program. And then you have an 18-month program for younger folks with years of experience. Tell us what you learn in the program and what your approach to teaching global supply chain management is.
Sure. So we do have the two tracks. The 18-month is the more traditional track for someone who's got a little less experience. And then our Spring Start, which is our 10-month track, that's for someone who's definitely got some significant experience, say 8 to 10 years, wants to, really get through the program quickly, and then get out there and start applying the knowledge. I think that the big thing that we do here at Purdue that kind of is unique is it's all about experiential, and really diving in and doing real world problems and solving those, working with companies, working with other students and faculty, not just here at Krannert, but even across the university here at Purdue, whether it be School of Engineering or the School of Computer Science, and any of the different incubators that we have that are on campus. So I think it's really more about just getting that real world hands-on experience, things that you can tangibly touch and send out those potential employers to say, not only do I have this experience in the private sector when I came into the program, but here's some of the unique things that we did and some of the unique problems that we solved for different companies, both big and small. So
great. And we'll get into the summer experiential learning projects and all that later in the seminar here. But let's turn the case Western for a moment, because your program is also a different twist on global supply chain management. Students in your program have the flexibility to do it in as short as 9 months or up to 2 years. Mm-hmm. You can also add on extra coursework and to get a Sigma black belt or a certificate in business analytics. Tell us about that approach and essentially sort of the philosophy behind how the program was designed.
Yeah, you highlight some really good features of the program. A major component of the program is that Lean Six Sigma, and so automatically built into the curriculum is a green belt. But then students can choose to stay an extra semester to do the black belt. And so that's a great certification along with SAP. And so they're able to, through a workshop and then again, some additional experience gained in SAP certification. And, I think one of the unique qualities of our program that we've seen lately, especially in the area of risk, is our analytics focus. And so a significant number of our courses, because, it's in a Department of Operations Research, we partner, our faculty really partner or collaborate well to be able to provide that analytics coursework and experience for students. And again, should a student have, some work experience, but they want the degree, they can do it in as little as 9 months. And some students know exactly, maybe they come out of undergraduate and already have a pretty good lineup on a job. And so 9 months, or 2 semesters is great for them. But a good portion of our students, because we also draw a significant number of students from outside the United States. And so a lot of them like to have that 3 or 4 semester experience, which gives them that summer internship, paid internship experience, where they gain the work experience to go along with what they are learning in the classroom.
Right. And you mentioned something that I think is important to underline, the fact that newly graduated undergraduate students are welcome in your program, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, a majority of our students come right out of undergraduate, and again, take that opportunity again to get 9-month coursework and go right into work, or get the 3 semesters of coursework with some work experience to really enhance that resume.
So, Brooke, who is generally attracted to the program? What are their motivations? And just to help people determine fit with your program,
Mm.
give us a sense of the class profile.
Yeah, typically our students are coming from, again, most of them coming right out of undergraduate. They have strong quantitative backgrounds. And then with that, usually we see that they're coming out of majors such as mathematics, engineering, sometimes out of some of the general business or a variety of business majors, but really having that strong quantitative background is what positions them well, especially to proceed through a lot of the quantitative coursework in analytics.
So that would include economics, statistics,
Absolutely.
math, business, computer science, engineering primarily.
All those areas, yeah.
Yeah. And John, who's generally attracted to your program?
I would, yeah, I'd say pretty similar in terms of a lot of engineers, computer science, stat, information management, IT type of backgrounds. The interesting thing here at Purdue is we get a fair share of people from the liberal arts backgrounds to come into supply chain, even hospitality and tourism management, which is a big major here at Purdue. We even have aviation majors who are looking to go into aviation and supply chain management there. And we have a great aviation program here at Purdue as well. So we have a lot of cross synergy there, but we also get a lot of people from industry, so they tend to have a little bit more experience. So our current average runs anywhere from say 4 to 8 years of actual professional work experience. We do get a handful of undergraduate students who come, maybe from a non-credit undergrad major. So something in say engineering or computer science or something like that. But generally they're people who have professional experience.
Right, great. And then over in product management, what kind of people are attracted to that program and who does it best serve?
Ours are typically working professionals also. They've done their time as a product team member, you might say, and they want to take that leadership step. And one of the reasons I have the diagram back here is it's an interesting blend, because traditionally, and even in the early days of the program, almost all of our students came through the tech path to learn the business and design. But now we're getting a blend, a diversity, you might say, of students where, like, even from last year's grads, we had like a gentleman by the name of Al came from a finance background, and he wanted to learn the technology and the UX aspect. We have a lot of students. One of ours that I talked with recently at Microsoft, she had a strong technical background. She wanted to learn the customer and the user journey and the business elements. And then we have, actually, we did a Poets and Quants event with a grad from that same year named Jeff, and there's another named Elise who came from customer experience backgrounds. And they wanted to take what they understand and their skill for dealing with users and customers and turn that into a tech career. So it's a blend where they all kind of come in and converge, but they all have the desire in common to take that leadership step and move from role player to team lead.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I think that there must be a good dose of leadership training in that program to make that happen. So it's not totally directed to product management per se.
Yeah, and if you imagine like a software engineer who's been working 6 or 7 years, he or she may have been solving problems, highly technical ones, really complicated ones, but they haven't needed to drive the team toward discovering what the right problem to solve is, or influencing their stakeholders along the way. So that's intertwined into everything that we do here.
Yep. I mean, obviously, another reason why so many people are attracted to these programs is because you get them jobs and you get them good jobs, and that's a big deal, and that's a draw. So above and beyond people who want to pivot from a more narrow role to a more meaningful, probably a more fulfilling career, there is the fact that, you can go to school and you can know that when you graduate, you will have a very good job for yourself. Let's talk about differentiation. Let's stay with you, Brad, and let me ask you, what makes your program stand out? And I know there aren't many product management masters, incidentally.
Yeah,
So right there, that's a differentiator.
Being one of a kind is a good start, but in a sense, like the whole program is driven toward producing that effective, powerful product manager upon graduation. And a few of my colleagues here mentioned experiential learning. Not only do we start with students who have their own component, their own background related to their own experience, normally in a tech related role, but we have internships, we have capstone projects, and we have real cases in the classroom that provide them, like, they aren't graduating with zero experience, they're graduating to senior roles in a lot of cases. So I call it more of a training program than an academic program for that reason. Like, we're here, and this is from start to finish, even before we start, it's focused on how can we make you the product manager that you want to become, and how can we put you in front of that company that you're interested in contributing to.
Great. John, what do you say differentiates the Purdue program in global supply chain management?
Sure. I think most people, when they think of Purdue University, other than being the cradle of astronauts and the cradle of NFL quarterbacks, are things like operations management. And Purdue has a long and rich history in operations, and we basically build upon that with our supply chain master's degree. We have a couple of centers that are kind of unique. One is the Global Supply Chain Management Initiative, which has been around for 15 years. It's a focal point for what we do in terms of promoting education, research, and industrial engagement for people who are interested in supply chain and supply chain management. And we put on lots of conferences, student competitions, company projects, and basically create venues to collaborate between the firm, the student, and faculty, not only in the state of Indiana, but across the country and around the world. And then we also have the Dow Center for Management and Manufacturing Enterprise. And this is basically all about education, research, and industrial engagement, people trying to, who are interested in operations management and manufacturing management, conferences, again, competitions, collaborations. So, I know we've been talking about experiential a lot, but I think it's what all three of us do. Because of the type of degree it is, it's taking those real world problems and giving students opportunities to solve those problems and work with industry leaders, gain industry certifications, whether that's SAP or Lean Six and things like that. So I think it really just comes down to, we're taking what we've always done and what we're known for, and just going an extra step when it comes to the master's degree.
Right. Now, Brooke, I know at Case Western, you call it action-based learning.
Yeah.
So, tell us what differentiates your program in supply chain management.
I think a big, so two primary features, of our program. I think one is, again, the analytics focus. So many of our students graduate and are pursuing employment and achieving employment as analysts, individuals that are there to try and take large data sets and solve problems. But then another really interesting component is location. And it's probably no surprise you have Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana here represented, right? So Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and then Lafayette, and kind of between Chicago and Indianapolis. And major thoroughfares, an interstate, the Great Lakes system, so waterways, over the road, and train. Those are significant. I mean, John D. Rockefeller he's buried just up the hill here.
Yeah.
The rail industry and the oil industries, you think of all the manufacturing that these states, have contributed to in the industrialization of the US. And so it's no surprise that here in Cleveland at Case Western at the Weatherhead School, so much of many of our adjuncts, our faculty are all coming out of manufacturing with that manufacturing experience. And then also, we're seeing that our students are going into manufacturing, in a variety of different industries. And two big ones that have really, that also really impact us are also in the areas of healthcare. So we have 3 huge hospitals within just walking distance of campus between the Cleveland Clinic or our university hospitals or the VA. And so a significant number of our students are entering into that logistics field in healthcare. And then just down the road from us in Akron, a significant part of the auto industry, but also this little known company that started making hand sanitizer that all of a sudden blew up during the pandemic. And we have all kinds of students that are going to work for this company down the road from us because of that. So again, just it's amazing how location really influences, where our students go, but also where our faculty come from and what influences these programs.
True. And Brooke, one of my favorite things to do is to come to a campus and go out for a beer or two with students. And inevitably, I'll ask them this question, years after you graduate, what will most resonate with you about the program? What were the things that you'll take with you for the rest of your life? What do you think your students would tell me, Brooke?
Yeah, I think a couple things. It's one you mentioned at the start of the question you asked me. It's about the applied learning that they had. And, time and time again, I hear students talk about some of those classroom experiences, but also some of the projects that industry partners have provided to our students in order for them to have that applied learning, but that's providing real world problem solving for some different industries or manufacturing. But the other thing too is, we bring in about 30 to 40 students a year into our program. And there is that really tight community that is formed within those, 2 or 3 semesters. And that professional network that they build, that they plug into and then begin building their own here is a significant part of their experience.
Great. John, what would your students tell me?
That's a great question. And I love the fact that you want to go to each campus, have a couple of beers with students and really find out what's going on, right? So, because that's when they're going to tell you. They're a little more relaxed. And I've been thinking about this. I really think my experience so far, since I've been at Purdue, is it's the faculty. They will rave about the faculty coming in as everybody kind of goes through me as they, go through the admissions process. But as they finish and at graduation, a lot of, the faculty were so engaged. They took so much care in developing the course and developing the projects and, basically setting the table for success. So there's a huge love for the faculty here. Who are obviously world-class and are world-renowned in terms of the research that they produce, kind of at the bleeding edge of the technology. So I would lean on faculty, probably number one, and then of course the network, right? The people that they get to know, both in their actual cohort as they're going through the program, but also the exposure to the alumni and becoming part of that alumni base. Because a lot of our projects, as I'm sure my partners here at Tepper and Case Western would say, they come from alumni who are in these companies who are wanting to give back. They remember working with Amazon, or they remember working with Walmart, or someone like that, or some heavy industry, or say Ford, and now they're there, and so they want to be able to give back. So I'd say it's a combination of those two for us.
Makes sense. Brad, what would your students tell me?
I'd say they love the aspect that they're learning this new way of thinking, and not just a new way of thinking, a rounded set of skills that allows them to, and this goes back to the idea of moving to leadership. They're involved in decisions that are meaningful, and they very often very often get signal from their customers, their end users directly as far as feedback and how this has made this product that they've improved has made their life better, or those types of things. There's this role as it is provides a unique opportunity to truly impact lives. And the way that they're prepared to do that, the way that they're prepared to think in large scale and strategic terms, as opposed to solving an isolated problem, is pretty universally what everybody raves about. And it's, in a sense, you could say it's why they were interested in product management in the first place. But the idea that they're actually running their show, running their team, and they're learning to do that in every aspect, from the leadership training, the communication, the negotiation training, to the understanding the technical elements that the data scientist on their team needs to understand, and being able to communicate with all these different role players and all these different sub teams is really, they're interested in making an impact, and this program definitely allows them to do that.
And while obviously the role of product manager varies from one company to another, there are many companies who use this role almost as a mini CEO, right? Because you can have P&L responsibility, you have a team that you're directing and moving forward. And it's kind of like a small little CEO kind of job, which makes it really cool if the company is willing to delegate that kind of power to you. I know a lot of people go to Amazon, say that's true. I mean, they have their own little area that they totally control, that they're responsible for and accountable for. And that's a fantastic thing, not to be, a hub and a wheel, but to be the wheel.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the career outcomes. Now, I know that the median starting base salary of your grads is roughly 144,000. Of course, that's going up because we are in inflationary times, and I know that compensation across all business schools for graduate programs is going up to record levels and near record levels. I know your people work for a variety of companies like E&Y and Ford, and obviously Facebook and Amazon, Cisco, Dell. Tell us a little bit more, though. What are you can tell us about the career outcomes and how that all works?
Sure thing. Actually, the stat on the website is a tentative one. It's the official one is their median salary when they start is 150. And in the tech world, you can imagine that the perks and the equity and the bonuses and all that other kind of stuff are very attractive as well. So that's part of the story.
You know how many people go to Silicon Valley just because they're playing a lottery? The name of the lottery game is equity.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Amazon, because they're one of our bigger employers. In fact, we have roughly a quarter of our graduating class is going to Amazon. A little over a quarter were interns at Amazon this past summer. And yeah, we get a lot of feedback as to what being and even within a company like Amazon, being a product manager has a wide spectrum of job responsibilities and different flavors, which is good because some of our students want to be more technical. Others want to be more closer to like the entertainment segment and different things like that. So even within Amazon, we have many different types of product managers. And kind of going back to my opening statement where the program was designed for employers, like last year, all 30 students, we had 100% placement. And as you might imagine, a lot of those students were weighing multiple offers, that type of thing. So in terms of how they do when they leave, it's almost mind-blowing in terms of the success they're having. And we see students from 2019, 2020 that are getting promoted on a regular basis. These types of things, it's such a demanding job that if you are skilled at it, if you're competent, if you're well-trained, the sky's the limit. So your comment about being the phrase in the product world is often stated that you're the CEO of the product. So that gets back to like making these meaningful decisions and the the responsibility. It's also why employers want students who have experience, because you don't want to hire somebody for this role who is new. The decisions they have to make are too critical and too impactful. So they're getting jobs, they're getting excellent jobs, and they're getting jobs kind of like you mentioned. It could be healthcare, it could be manufacturing, it could be big tech, it could be finance, it could be security, it could be video games, which is another one that a subset of our students are extremely interested in.
Of course, because they play video games.
Yeah, they're subject matter experts. Yeah.
And Brooke, I imagine that Amazon is also a significant recruiter of your grads as well, probably.
It sure is, yeah, for a number of our programs. So in fact, we just had the VP for financial services outside the United States for Amazon. He's one of our graduates, and so he was just here on campus. And yeah, we've placed students. We have several large facilities here in the Cleveland area, and then obviously, all over the country, but especially here in the Cleveland area, Amazon's pretty big. And as I mentioned before, we have a number of different large manufacturers that are based here in Cleveland. In fact, we say about, I think the statistic is about 40% of the Fortune 500 either have their primary headquarters is here, or major operations here in the Cleveland area. And so that cuts across a number of different industries. As I already mentioned, hand sanitizer, Purell, and Moen, you turn your faucet on, go and look at your faucet, right? Moen's right down the street. So a number of industries like that.
Now, I mentioned earlier that the constraints in supply chains worldwide has probably increased demand for graduates of these programs. Am I right about that, or wrong?
Yeah, demand exceeds supply right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So John, can you comment on that and the career outcomes of your grads?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're obviously seeing that industry is, it's been an incredible 2.5, almost 3 years now for the industry. If you're in operations and supply chain, even this time has been so unique for all of us who work in the industry and higher education and especially at business schools. The interesting thing is, I think that the people are so overwhelmed with their professional lives. I personally feel like there's been a little bit of postponing of their possible education plans because work has been overwhelming, and obviously the pandemic, certain countries you couldn't even enter the United States. But I think, one thing we've noticed at least is if people are interested and they really want to do it, they apply, and they if they get admitted, they definitely start their programs. And obviously, what we do here at Purdue, tech and manufacturing, I'd say about a third of our students end up in the technology sector, another third end up in manufacturing, so that leaves the other third. But it's an interesting kind of mix where about 17% are in services, about 7% in pharma, consumer goods, consulting, and obviously the big players like Amazon, Walmart, things like that. But we have people who go to work for Cummings out of this program, and Christian Dior, Boston Scientific, Micron, Puma, Rivian. So it's not, and it's also, like, from a geographic perspective, I'd say about around 20% or so stay somewhere in the Midwest. But we have great representation on the West Coast, where about 40% of our students end up being employed. Not as much in the Northeast, a little bit less. And then we've got roughly almost 20% of our graduates are employed somewhere in Asia. So I think we got a nice mix, and it's not too heavily in one area or another.
Yeah, that's great. I'm wondering what kind of support you give students in terms of finding the right job for them. I mean, is there coaching available? Is there a sort of jobs curriculum of one kind or another? John, how does that play out at Purdue?
Sure. Yeah, we have something we call the Cranor Professional Development Center, or KPDC. There are 6 full-time staff members dedicated to supporting just Krannert students. We have 3 advisors in residence. Between everybody, there's about 100+ years of corporate experience and student engagement experience. Right away, as soon as they start the program, we introduce them to a career planning framework for them. We expose them to the different tools that they have at their disposal that Purdue is providing, and then the different services that they have access to, and then help them identify areas to develop and improve on while they're studying, so that they can prepare for those interviews and those, the fairs and their elevator pitches and their 5-minute. Here's why I think I'm a good fit for your company. So we start with them right away, and then work with them the entire time as they're going through the program. So KPDC is a huge partner for us in helping us get students not only placed where they want to go, but placed in something that they're going to be able to thrive in.
Great. Brooke, can you talk to that as well?
Yeah, sure can. Yeah, we again have a great career management office with a number of different staff that serves all of our graduate students, especially our MBA students, and but they do work with all of our students, including the supply chain management students, in order to really get them prepared. Again, from the point of admission, we begin working with them over the summer with a number of workshops, even before they arrive on campus. And then, because quite often a lot of the hiring events are taking place in September and October. And so as soon as they hit the ground, they're here on campus, we're putting them up in front of recruiters. And then also our supply chain management program has hired an industry professional who was retired from the industry, but then has been serving now as our program director. And we do that across our specialized master's programs. We hire in program directors to leverage their professional networks and their industry experience in order to line up the, and assist the students in building their professional network and reaching out to these companies and recruiters at those companies.
That's great. Well, Brad, you have 100% employment rate with students with multiple offers. So I don't know what kind of support you offer your people, but whatever it is, it's working, right?
Well, yeah, you might say that we eat our own dog food insofar as our approach to the career element. It is the ultimate goal, right? It's the main purpose why we're chosen. And we apply the same design thinking that we teach in class to that process. As for starters, we have our students, because we're a hybrid program, they have access to our computer science and our broader CMU recruiters and recruiting support career centers. And I believe last time I looked, Tepper's Master's Career Center was ranked number 9. Forgive me if that's outdated, but so they have the 2 organizations that they can lean on. But that's just the beginning, because the whole experience itself starts. We've actually started what we call pre-orientation with our incoming January students already. It's basically a series of resume reviews, discussions with alumni and current students as to how to prepare, how to present yourself. Right. It is, we have other interview practice resources that we provide the students, because the product manager interview process is so notoriously difficult. Like there's an entire industry just on cracking the interview process, which is not it's not the way I like to look at it. Like, let's build the skills and make the person ready, rather than trying to game the interview process. But all that said, like, it's, even though we're a 12-month program, it's really 15 months of readiness. And like, most of even directing the program as I do, most of my conversations with students are, hey, I have these 2 offers and I don't know how to make my decision. Hey, I got an offer from this place, but I want to negotiate. Or, hey, I'm not finding opportunities in the industry I'm interested in. How do we go about solving that problem? Like, it's so extremely hands-on. And the other thing, and this is a relatively recent phenomenon, as the program begins to mature, the students take it upon themselves to help each other. Like, we literally today in this office, We have one of those students who accepted at Amazon that I mentioned earlier. She is helping coach some of her peers for their upcoming interviews. It's like so amazing the way that they band together, and we preach from day one that this is a team sport, and it's really turning out that way.
Now, I think it's worth noting for young people who may not know this, and even for people who have a few years of experience. You know, years ago, companies had layers upon layers of management, and they afforded the luxury of bringing in people and then training them. That's long gone in most companies, which is why these programs are so popular and so important, because employers expect graduates to make a contribution from day one. They don't want to spend 6 months to a year training you for your job anymore. That's a thing of the past. Maybe when I was a young kid coming out of school, that was true, but it is not true now, and it hasn't been true for at least a decade or more. And that's why these programs have great value. That said, you know, Brad, I want to ask you, what do you think employers most appreciate about your graduates? Yes, I know they're job ready, but there's something else.
It's that in a lot of ways, it's more than just a skill. It's a habit where we repeat it and practice it so often. The idea that you should start with the problem and not the solution. When I describe this program in its most simple terms, it is we train people to solve the right problem. And the idea that, I mean, so many wrong problems are solved. And there's that quote, I think it's by Deming, that says, I'd rather have a manager who has the right solution to the wrong problem is more dangerous than the one who has the wrong solution to the right problem. And we see, you know, we all see it every day in corporate life, right? An executive makes a decision without knowing what the problem really is. Everybody follows, and you're redoing it again in a year. Our students learn that the problem-solving process starts with the problem, and it starts with the person experiencing that problem. And people, your average new hire does not think that way, that our students do.
Brooke, what do employers most appreciate about your graduates?
Yeah, I'll give an example. We have a student who just graduated, and he actually had spent a couple of years in the hotel industry and then went back into it, but at a significantly higher level. And I think what was a key differentiator for him was his ability to analyze and problem solve. So he was able to quickly analyze you know, some significant supply chain issues. This huge conference hotel that was just relaunching right after the pandemic and needed to really ramp up quickly in order to re-enter that market and experience some significant problems, you know, getting on-ramped. And he was able to, even before he started the job, he was beginning his analytics, you know, of some of their current supply, you know, and where they were with purchasing and, you know, all the different systems associated with being able to run not only the nightly operations of the hotel, but obviously the conference. And so, again, a great example of where his analytics skills and his problem solving, you know, from the real world problems that he was able to address and work on while a student, you know, he was able to quickly apply that knowledge and those skills right into that workplace.
Yep. Job ready. Don, you want to take a swing at that question? What employers most appreciate about your graduates?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when people hire a Cranert student from our program, at least in supply chain, they're hiring somebody who is an innovative problem solver who has a lot of grit, and that's one of the things we really look for is that grit. That when you have a challenge, how far are you willing to go to solve that challenge and that problem? And I think employers know that it's just the kind of Purdue mentality of hard working, roll up your sleeves, and we got to figure out a solution to this problem. But, you know, a lot of analytics and a lot of analytical thinkers. They have great critical thinking skills. They use data in their decision making. But I think another thing that employers appreciate is the emotional intelligence that our students have as well. And that, so they're coming in with, an engineering background, and then we take them to that level with another level with business acumen. And then we kind of top all that off with leadership training, so that they can understand how to get diverse groups of people from all over the world, maybe within your supply chain, to work together to solve this big gnarly problem. And I think that's why people love to hire graduate students.
Great. John, tell us how prospects could get in touch with you and learn more about the program.
Granite.purdue.edu. That's the easiest way. And I'm sure my colleagues are going to say the same thing, but you can schedule a meeting with a admissions person right there. There's a nice big button there, and if you just say, I'd like to have a Zoom call to kind of talk with somebody, get some more information. Obviously, that's the easiest way.
Including current students, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Brooke, how about you? How can they reach you?
Yeah, weatherhead.case.edu, and take a look at our supply chain management program. Same thing, we have a great way for you to apply now, visit, or chat with one of us. We have an upcoming information session on November 4th, Friday, November 4th at noon, and you can register right there at our website.
Terrific. Brad?
I'd say the easiest way, my email address is on my LinkedIn account, and my name is abnormal enough that there aren't too many Brad Ivans out there. So I'm fairly, and we're the only MS in product management program. So there are a lot of ways to with a quick search to look me up. That's not difficult.
Terrific. Well, listen, I really enjoyed our session together. Thank you for spending the time with us. I'm sure so many people are going to find this to be really valuable and useful. Brooke, Brad, and John, thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thanks all.
For you out there, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. You've been watching our session at Center Court on two very popular specialty master's programs, one in supply chain management from two great schools, and the one and only Masters in Product Management at Carnegie Mellon. Thanks for watching.